Alright, and welcome back to another hacking tutorial from Stealth Data Zero. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can get FUD persistence, which is very important, and what to do after you're inside of a machine. I showed you guys a ton of videos of ways to get in a machine via exploits, via client-side attacks. I even got into social engineering, showing you guys how to deliver payloads with websites and trying to get you guys to think outside the box. But it's time to get a little bit more, advanced. So if you need references to anything you see here, all of these techniques are going to be listed in the videos below, and they will describe each technique specifically in detail. So if you need any guidance, follow those videos. But we're going to be moving kind of fast. The new thing we're going to be learning about is post modules. We haven't done really much on post modules, but I'm going to show you what you need to do once you get inside of a machine. So I've already started Metasploit and started my multi-handler. I use a hack the world payload. We can do sysinfo just so you guys can check the version number of Windows 10 that I'm hacking. And then we're also going to do a screenshot. Or let me Control Z background this one. Exploit. That's from a previous payload that I had dropped. That's why it said stageless stageless session, because Hack the World has a built-in feature where it actually has a persistence feature built into it. But right here, 192.167 is what we're attacking. If I can do Control/ZY, we can type sessions, and you can see that I have sessions open on 2 different machines. And this is also how you can handle multiple machines at once. So you can hack multiple machines at once. I've hacked up to 150 different devices at once, and it's very easy to order them because they're all listed by ID number over here in the corner. So we want to focus on session number 2. So session attack I2, and then we're going to do a sysinfo just to make sure our latency and everything's good, make sure our shell is running good, and we're not having any issues. Windows Defender is on, and of course that can cause issues, especially in a demo. So we're going to do a quick screenshot just to prove to you guys that Windows Defender is on. And I have the payload. It's named Edge, and it's right on top of the Windows Defender. Right here's the Edge EXE made by Hack the World. And again, you can check out how to make payloads with Hack the World. This is not the right screenshot. Right here it is. And as you can see here, virus protection settings is on, real-time protection setting is on, and then here's Edge, which is the payload that we have here. And if I go ahead and hit PS, you'll see that the Edge, let's see if we can't find it, get PID. So we're going to get the PID of our shell, 4116, and then 4116 right here is the payload. And as you can see, we're running as admin. So the first thing you want to do when you get a shell is make sure you have persistence. Now the golden rule is 1 is none, or 2 is 1 and 1 is none. You want some way back into the system. So if you didn't know this neat little trick, you can use a netcat binary that comes on Kali Linux to quickly upload to any Windows system and get a netcat shell. So it's in computer user var share and then a folder called Windows binaries. And if you look in that folder as well, you'll see backdoors, our admin, and other cool tools. So you need to just copy that and then move it to your home folder. Okay, so that's what I did here, and we're going to go ahead and upload this to the C drive. Now, normally when you upload a payload, if I hit LS, it will show you that I'm on the desktop, and you don't want to upload it to the desktop because then it will just pop up. As you can see right here is my payload, and it's on the desktop. So wherever your payload is where it will normally upload, unless you specify somewhere different, but you can specify any place you like. So let's go ahead and drop this in the C folder. Just for demo's sake, normally I would drop it somewhere like deep in the system 32 or something like that, but we're just gonna put it in the C folder. So C double dot wherever it's called, and then /, and then this will upload it to the C drive. So if we go ahead and drop into the command shell of the victim computer and change directories to the C drive, we can actually see our netcat payload will be in there using Windows commands, and then we can see right here nc.exe. So we're good to go there. So now let's go ahead and make another connection. So we're going to do NC, which is netcat built into Linux NV 4444. I suggest using ports like port 80, port 8080, and port 443 in a real pen test, but just for the demo's sake, we're going to be using 4444. We're inside of the shell of the Meterpreter shell. Now we still have a Meterpreter shell, but we're going to go ahead because now we have netcat uploaded onto the Windows machine, and as you can see, Windows Defender is still on and nothing has gotten flagged. We're going to go ahead and start another shell. So that's NC, and then tac NV, and then if you want to do it remotely, it needs to be your public IP address. If not, use your internal IP address, which you can always find by typing ifconfig if you're over the LAN. If not, though, you need to use your public IP address, and you need to have port forwarding on whatever port you choose. So port 4444 in this example would have to be port forwarded. TAC-E to invoke cmd.exe. And then we're going to go ahead and press enter, and this should create a connection over here on that netcat listener that we opened up. We didn't hit enter, so we're going to have to re-enter that command. As you can see, it says connection refused, and that's because we didn't have our listener listening. Sorry about the new mistake. And as you can see, it says open, and now we have dir, and we can see inside of the C drive, and we can move around the system as well. Now the great thing about this is we can also upload another payload. So let's go ahead and upload another payload just in case now you don't have to do this, you can use the same payload, but we already have a payload made here ready to call back to our address. So let's go ahead and hit Control Z. We'll background this session, upload edge.exe to the C drive, and then let's say, oh no, our shell died. Like, oh no, what the hell? What do we do? Well, because we have that netcat persistence, we're going to be okay. So what we're going to do is just type dir to list the contents of the C drive. We see our payload right here, and then using Windows command prompt commands, simply start our payload again. So before we do that, of course, we don't want to make another new mistake. We want to have our multi-handler listening, and go ahead and start our payload. And as you can see, we didn't get no errors or nothing like that. And we're gaining another Meterpreter shell session. So as you can see, we have persistent Meterpreter access, and then of course with the Meterpreter shell, as I showed you, you can start a netcat shell. So as long as you have these two shells, you can start either shell no matter which one dies. Now to take this one step further, I have a video on how to make a persistent netcat backdoor that will keep calling out for a shell. So you could even go as far as turn off your computer as long as the target computer stays on, which normally in a corporate situation the computer stay on all the time, or if it's a server, you will always be able to gain back your shell. Now there are persistent options that Metasploit itself offers. Let's see if I can. But you would have to disable antivirus for this to work. But these persistent measures are absolutely great. So right here, if you type run persistence tac H, it will give you a brief rundown. And again, I have a video on how to do all of this, so I'm not going to get into this. It'd be really time consuming. But basically, I'll give you a quick rundown since this is a more advanced video. This is the IP address it calls out to. This is the port, so you'd have to have port forwarding on port 443. And then public IP address here if you're doing this remotely. This is how many seconds it waits the calls out. And then as you can see here, TAC-U, it automatically starts the agent when the user logs on. You can do it with boot up, but you could even do one that just generates another shell by typing run persistence TAC-A. It will generate an identical shell. So we're going to actually just go ahead and implement that. Now Windows persistence or Windows Defender is still on. And that was caught by Windows Defender. So as like I said, you want to disable Windows Defender before you start using Meterpreter's the Meterpreter's persistence options. Like I said, netcat backdoors, Python backdoors, something of that nature. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. So we're going to actually just background out of this session. Type sessions to see what sessions we have left here. And we're going to go into session 3. Okay, so moving on, I showed you guys how to get some persistence, and then I showed you the persistence options that Meterpreter offers. Again, you would want to disable antivirus before using these. Here's basically some scripts you can use, and then here's a rundown on what they actually do. But let's move on to post-exploitation models, because these can actually help you disable antivirus, and so can PowerShell. I will leave the link in the description on how to disable Windows Defender via PowerShell. So we're going to type post in my cheat sheet, and we're going to actually check out the post persistence module first. So this is an exe file that starts every hour. So what you need is a sysinfo And as you can see, we're back on the same computer. We're going to background the session. So what you need to do is background the session. You need to type back, and then you need to type session, so you have the session ID list of what session you need to use, and we need to use session 5. So to use a post module, you just type use, and then of course to search post modules, you can type search Windows post. And as you can see, there is a ton of things that you can do, and you can type Linux or Android post modules and all of that stuff. But there's a ton of things you can do, from phishing credentials to dumping databases to everything. But we're just going to be focusing on a few here and then wrapping up the video. So we're going to check out the persistence one. So you can just do a quick show options to see what you need, and you need a session, so set session, and it's session ID of 5. Remember, we checked the session before, and it looks like everything else is good to go, so we can actually hit exploit. Oh, so it's asking you to upload an executable, so set .exe path, and we can actually just use the same exe that we've been using. That's been bypassing Windows Defender that hacked the word exe. And as you can see, the file was executed. So now this will actually, if you leave the multi-handler open, will call back out to you. So that's one way you can set up persistence, especially if you have a FUD payload in handy. Let's go ahead and check out a couple other post-exploitation modules before we back out. Now you can fish for admin credentials, but the first thing I would do as soon as I get into a system is use something like kill AV in the Windows rollback, because you want to try to disable as antivirus as much as possible. So set session 5 exploit, and then of course you can do show options if you're not sure. And you can see no target processes were found because there's no paid antivirus like Malwarebytes or Kaspersky on here, just Windows Defender. But as you can see, they are working. We can try the window rollback of the Windows Payload Defender. So it might not register your payload as malicious because you rolled back its database. And then of course you can do all kinds of things like an exploit suggester, gather credentials, credential collector, check if it's a VM, fish for admin credentials. This makes a very convincing phishing page. We'll go ahead and pop this one up and then end the video. And I'll do a screenshot of what the phishing page looks like. So I'm going to clear the screen on the victim computer. So you can see post module exploit complete, but this one must be run as system. So you have to be system level, unfortunately, and that's for a lot of things. But if I try to run get system right now, Windows 10 would definitely boot me out. So let's go ahead and use this last post module. But this is how you use post modules. I showed you how to search them, and I'll get more into more interesting post modules, but these are some of the more interesting ones. But obviously from this video you can see how to use them. I'll do a dedicated video to post modules, but I wanted to show you guys what to do after you get into a system, because I've showed you a lot of how to get into a system, but not really what to do after you get in. The only video I really did on that was the Meterpreter guide, and I want to get into more of the post-exploitation side of things, because once you get into a system, there's a lot you need to do. You need to set up persistence, make sure you have a way back in, make sure you remain undetected, get what you came for, and then get out. So we're going to do this, set sessions or session for 5, the same one we've been interacting with, and then type exploit. Alright, well, unfortunately I couldn't get you a picture of the pop-up, but it just says invalid credentials, Windows security key, and it looks just like the Windows security key pop-up, and it's just basically a phishing attempt for admin credentials that even a system admin would believe. But again, if you just go to Metasploit and do search post and then pretty much anything post Linux or whatever, it will show you a huge amount of post modules that you can use, including ones for persistence. And then of course I did this all with Windows Defender on. And then don't forget about the netcat binary, which you can generate netcat scripts that create persistent backdoors, or that just easily allow you to upload a FUD persistent measure. The netcat binary itself can actually be used as a payload as well, so keep that in mind. Hopefully you found the video informative, and again we'll get into more post-exploitation and using post modules and what to do after getting into the system to remain undetected. You can't just go in there and then go all willy-nilly and expect not to get detected, especially in the real world when you become a real pen tester. And of course, if you're not at that level now, that's fine. These videos are a little bit more advanced, but of course, as we move along down the road, we will get more and more advanced. So hopefully you found the video informative. If you did, go ahead and drop a like, subscribe for more content, and as always, have fun, stay safe, keep hacking, and peace out.